This is what a 4,000 damage game looks like while cutting out everything in between. Now pay very close attention because there are 3 key things that I want you to be doing consistently to start dropping higher damage games. Let's go.
Back. White. Down. Back. Right here. Up there. I got my pop.
Road. Caustic 50 on flesh. Oh.
What is going on, everybody? Today I'm going to be walking you through how to drop 3Ks, 4Ks, and overall much higher damage games than you've ever done before. Not only are we going to talk about in this video how to help you deal more damage overall, but how to get you to be a better player, how to help you stay alive longer, how to help you get more consistent kills and wipe teams faster, and most importantly, how to develop the skills to get eSims on your day. Now, before we actually started the video, we talked about 3 things I wanted you to look for in that quick clip as to me dropping like that 4,000 damage game. Now, I want to know, did you notice 3 individual things that was happening throughout that entire segment? Now, if you didn't notice, that is totally cool. That's why we're making these types of videos, to help you understand what is going into these big damage games, what's going into dropping high kill games, what's helping you rank up as you become a better player. Now, those 3 things that I wanted you to pick up on while we went through that entire segment of dealing that 4,000 damage was 1, getting closer off of damage that has been dealt. 2, repositioning to new angles to kind of attack players when they're sitting behind certain areas. There's a couple moments where we had to do that. And number 3, not overcommitting to fights that I'm losing. Now, before we hop into this guide, let me give you a little backstory as to this game. This game was actually pulled from a recent coaching session that I did with another player a couple weeks ago. His goal was to overall get better at the mechanics of fighting and movement, and throughout this video we actually talk a little bit about these things as we're taking fights. So not only am I going to give you a guide as to how to drop higher damage games, but you're also going to get a couple tips here and there on how to take advantage of things that we're doing and how to overall push up and back up into these situations. Now, with that being said, if getting one-on-one coaching is something that you might be interested in, the link to book a coaching session with me can be found in the description down below. Shout out Plugwork, who actually came up with the idea of description instead of description. Cool play on words. Appreciate it, man. Anyways, I stream all of my live coaching sessions here over on YouTube. Check it out if that's something that you might be interested in. Now, before we actually hop into this game, a quick little note here. Being a controller player, it is actually very difficult to implement movement as well as shooting and a whole bunch of other mechanics all together at once, especially when you have a regular Xbox or PlayStation controller. A huge part of becoming a good player is being able to wall jump while aiming, or, keeping your thumbs on the analog sticks while implementing a whole bunch of different movement mechanics. And doing this with a regular controller, like I said, is extremely hard. And that's why I'm proud to say that I'm actually partnered with Cinch Gaming, a custom build controller company. And with Cinch Gaming, you're actually able to get back buttons installed onto your controller. That way you can keep your thumbs on the analog sticks while pressing crouch, jump, reload, and swap weapon. And the best part about Cinch isn't just the fact that you can customize the controller, all the colors, all the buttons, add different height thumbsticks, add mouse click triggers and mouse click bumpers, but you can actually send in your own controller to get customized. And with that, you're able to save a whole bunch of money. Now you're not buying a brand new controller when you already have one that works. You can just send it to them and they'll customize that controller and send it back to you. And because of that, you can save so much more money. And this isn't a sponsor, I just genuinely like Cinch. They make really good controllers in my opinion. If you're interested in checking them out, the link is going to be in the description down below, and you can actually save a couple bucks using that link. All right, now let's hop into the video. Alright, the way that we're going to basically go over this guide here is more so a breakdown of my gameplay and talking about how I'm able to deal out damage and how I'm able to get back into the fight to continue dealing damage. Because at the end of the day, it isn't one big thing that you're doing that's just magically getting you more damage, right? It's a series of little things that when added together, it helps you deal more damage consistently. Now, in the beginning, I mentioned that moving up off of damage is very important, and it is. as we're dealing damage, we don't want to give those players the opportunity to back up and heal up. By being able to push forward, we're giving ourselves the opportunity to create a knock so that we can continue to fight that team. Keeping pressure on players that are already hurt is a phenomenal way to be able to continue to get kills. In this fight right here, we heard a team that just res, which means that one person is going to not be able to fight back. Because of this, we're able to kind of farm damage almost off of this player. They're essentially a free kill. They're essentially giving us a free 150 damage. Just like right here, this player obviously can't defend himself. He has no gun. That's just an easy, push. And then from here, we're not going to just kind of like start playing slow, right? Because we have that advantage over this team, we're going to continue to put pressure on them. And right here, you'll notice that I'll do a quick little tap strafe right and then start strafing left and right. This isn't, really to look fancy, but it's more so to avoid excess damage, which is going to allow me to continue to get into the next fight faster. The more fights you take, the more damage you can deal. Now right here you can see that there's a horizon queue, and the horizon is actually pushing my teammate. I'm not going to be able to run over to my teammate and keep him alive in time. That horizon is going to kill him no matter what. In this situation right here, it makes more sense for me to engage with this vantage. That way I have high ground for when this horizon comes. I'm actually going to back this up and we'll break this down again. So now that I'm realizing that I can't actually help my teammate, I'm going to start focusing on playing against this vantage. Right here you can kind of see, as I'm coming up, I'm keeping my crosshairs in the position that this player would be. I slide forward to keep myself hard to hit, a little tap strafe to the left, again, hard to hit, and off of that damage, I'm going to re-engage. Remember, our goal is to keep pressure on these players. If I had taken a large amount of damage, I would have simply just started to back up while holding that angle. Now obviously this Horizon is going to want to start moving over, and because she had already used her lift, I don't need to worry about the Horizon lifting up into the air and grabbing a new angle on me. Instead, I'm just going to focus on catching her in the open as she's forced to cross up towards me. Now if she started peeking me and doing damage, I would have simply backed up, canceled my head glitch, and then reloaded and re-peeked. At this point in the match, we're simply just starting to run around and looking for this next team. We're always kind of be rotating into areas that other people should be rotating into. That's usually just center map on the edge of circle. Now obviously we're at a slight disadvantage because we've been scanned, so I'm going to want to take high ground. That way I can always control how this fight is going to be played. Here I've got a knock and I still have some health, so I can play tight off of the door, and as I'm looking to engage, if things aren't going my way, I can always take the opportunity to back up and, reset. Now pay attention to my positioning versus this player's positioning. In this situation here, I'm using cover by pressing myself up against this knockdown, versus the other guy, he's choosing to, instead of playing cover on his teammate, he's actually stepping backwards into the open. This is giving me the opportunity that if I want to, I can always I can always peek out of that knockdown, do damage, and go back into that knockdown. He gave up that option, and he gave that to me. Now coming into this fight right here, we have this team that's playing this rock. Instead of playing where my teammate is, I'm trying to take a separate angle and essentially create a triangle and wedge that team. Get an off angle to support that fight, which is going to give me the chance to put in extra damage. If my teammate can't shoot them because they're sitting behind a rock, then why would I be able to shoot them while they're sitting behind that same rock? Creating these new angles is going to give you the opportunity to be putting in new damage. Now, I don't know what that Valkyrie was doing. As soon as she got shit on, she should have tried to leave or reposition herself or get to a spot where she can hold me off or start healing. But instead, she just flew back up and got killed. So I don't know what she's doing. She just gave me a free 200 damage right there. Now, you can see right here, right? That team is still sitting behind that rock. It's hard to engage with them at that range, at that position. So instead of just fighting them from a spot that clearly isn't working, I'm going to work my way up this hill and create new angles again. Right? With these new angles, it's going to give me the opportunity to put in new damage. I'm not going to engage if I'm low health, so I'm going to take some time to heal. And as I start putting in damage right here, this team is going to be forced to slow their playstyle down, be a little bit more defensive. This is going to give me the opportunity to walk up, and because of this, I can start putting in more damage for free. Now again, it's all about re-engaging with teams as fast as you can. The sooner that you can re-engage with the team, the faster that you're going to be able to put in more damage. Broke right there for a split moment, so instead of continuing to fight in a spot that wasn't working for me, I take that quick moment to reset. This is going to keep me alive. That's going to give me the opportunity to put in damage later. I'm going to miss all my shots. But it's alright, because my teammate's going to be there to clutch up anyways. Now, we hear teams fighting in front of us, so I'm going to use a portal to kind of get close. That way, if I need to, I can always take the portal and back all the way up. In this situation right here, again, I get broke. Instead of continuing to take a fight that I'm not winning, I'm going to prioritize staying alive. This will give me the opportunity to get back into the fight so that I can continue to deal damage from a safe spot. Use the hit a wall bounce right here. Again, this isn't to look fancy, it's just to give myself the opportunity to avoid damage as I'm getting closer to somebody who I know is lower health than I.
Okay, they're on the roof right here. If we can get them off the roof, then we can take it from them. Shit on one. Zip up right here.
Alright. How about ult?
See this guy on the low ground? Get onto the roof and immediately look for this guy.
Yep.
So because this player's stuck in the open and there's no cover for him to be playing, he's essentially free damage. Now, a lot of people don't know this, but thirsting kills actually gives you damage. So this guy right here gave me an extra 100 damage just by thirsting him.
We can kick it.
They spotted me. I'm taking shots. That's the last of that squad. Reloading.
This slope was on one shot.
Alright, now we're coming up onto a spot where I actually almost throw the entire game. One of the main things that I coach is never to overextend and never over-challenge somebody. Right here, you notice I get put to 1 HP even after I see that I'm about to 1v2 face-to-face with people. It is extremely hard, as you know, to 1-mag 2 people in one clip. So that right there, me overcommitting to that fight where my teammate ended up clutching up right there, that was a big throw on my part. I should not have overcommitted as much as I did. Now, coming into this next fight right here, we know that there was a team in this direction, so we're going to start slowly posturing up to deal damage. You'll notice, right, we're hunting teams down. We're not letting teams come to us because that isn't giving us damage. We don't know if a team's going to come to us, but we know that if we go to a team, we can get more damage on them. Right here, 2 people. You know, I make the conscious decision to not over-peek this. Right, I continue to peek in to do damage and unpeek to avoid receiving damage. As you can see right here, peek, unpeek, peek, unpeek. Deal damage, keep myself safe by not, over-committing to that. And I talk about this all the time in my other coaching videos already on YouTube. I go really in-depth in a lot of the coaching sessions that I've done about this. Now, we're coming up on the 4K already, right? And it's not really like we're doing anything special. All we're doing is staying active in these fights and continuing to apply pressure. A quick heal, get back to applying pressure. Off of damage, we're continuing to push up. We don't want to give this team the opportunity to start healing when we've got them, on 50 flesh. Right here, do damage, reload, reposition myself. That way I'm not in the spot that he was originally looking at. Reposition myself, continue to do damage, and start pushing up off of the damage that I've already done. Now, again, there isn't exactly like 1 or 2 or 3 specific things that you're going to do that's just going to instantly give you higher damage games. It's applying a bunch of little things, one after the other, that's going to give you the ability to continue to put in damage. And that's the thing. It's putting in damage, not just doing one thing that's going to give you damage, but doing things that allow you to put in more damage. Little recap, right? The things that we're doing to allow us to put in more damage is peeking to obviously put in damage, unpeeking to avoid receiving damage, and because we didn't receive as much damage as we would have if we continued to peek, we get to re-peek with more health, with more ammo in our magazine, and get to continue to put in more damage. We're also taking new angles, so if we're continuing to shoot from one specific spot, and we're noticing, man, this team is just sitting behind a fucking rock and they're not moving, we're going to take that as an opportunity to start repositioning ourselves, take new angles. That is going to give us the ability to put in new damage. Something that I also coach during my coaching sessions is how to force players to do things that you want to do. So if we kind of go back to that whole vantage play, right? Me fighting that vantage on high ground is going to force that Horizon to come to me if she wants to fight. Otherwise, she's going to stay on that low ground. If Horizon is coming to me, she's forced across through the open. And if, just like we demonstrated on that Bangalore when we were shooting from the roof, if someone is in the open, there's nowhere for them to play, right? And we can use cover if need be. We can disengage from that fight if we want. But that person who's stuck on low ground can't do that, right? So we're constantly forcing people to push us through the open. And as we've been trying to demonstrate throughout this game here, as we deal damage, we're not taking that as an opportunity to start healing or for us to start playing slower. As we deal damage, we take that as an opportunity to start pushing onto those players. Hopefully you're able to learn something from this quick little video. If you did, make sure to hit that like button, subscribe. We got more videos coming on the way. If you're ever looking to book a coaching session, like we mentioned in the beginning of the video, link to do that is in the description down below.